Kanye West, now known simply as Ye, is a name that reverberates through the worlds of music, fashion, and popular culture. His presence is impossible to ignore, and his influence stretches far beyond the boundaries of any single industry. He didn't just revolutionize hip-hop, he redefined what it meant to be an artist in the 21st century. With a string of groundbreaking albums, countless Grammy wins, and a fearless approach to creativity, Kanye inspired a generation to think bigger, push harder, and never settle for the status quo. But Kanye's impact isn't limited to his music. It's his relentless refusal to conform, his boldness in challenging expectations, and his willingness to say what others won't that keep him at the center of conversation. He's a disruptor, unafraid to break the mold and force the world to pay attention. From unforgettable moments like interrupting award shows to making audacious public statements, Kanye has built a career on unpredictability. Each headline-grabbing act is a reminder that he's never content to play by the rules. His fans admire his raw honesty and unwavering integrity, seeing him as a voice for authenticity in a world full of pretense. Yet, that same honesty has sparked controversy, confusion, and heated debates, dividing audiences and challenging public opinion. Beyond music, Kanye's Yeezy brand transformed him into a billionaire, reshaping the landscape of streetwear and high fashion. His vision brought a new energy to the industry, making him a trendsetter and giving him a platform that few artists have ever achieved. With such immense influence, every move Kanye makes is watched by millions. When he acts out or takes a stand, the world doesn't just notice. It reacts, debates, and sometimes even changes course. So when Kanye aligned himself with a political movement that seemed to contradict his earlier stances, it sent shockwaves through culture. It wasn't just a headline, it was a cultural earthquake, forcing fans and critics alike to reconsider what they thought they knew about him. Kanye's journey is defined by extraordinary talent, relentless ambition, and an unyielding desire for personal and creative freedom. He's constantly reinventing himself, never afraid to stand alone or challenge the status quo. Whether you agree with his choices or not, Kanye compels us to confront difficult questions about the intersection of art, politics, and celebrity. He forces society to reflect on what it means to be authentic, controversial, and influential in the modern world. To truly understand Kanye West, you have to look beyond the headlines and soundbites. You have to dive into the complexity of his vision, his contradictions, and his ever-evolving perspective. A perspective that continues to fascinate, challenge, and inspire. The red MAGA hat is more than a cap. It's a lightning rod in American culture. For Trump supporters, it's a badge of patriotism. For opponents, a symbol of division and intolerance. So, when Kanye West, a black cultural icon, wore it in 2018, it shocked fans and critics alike. It seemed to contradict everything he'd stood for, especially after his famous criticism of George Bush. The act wasn't just political. It was a loud, provocative gesture that forced everyone to ask, why? Kanye explained his MAGA hat not as political support, but as rebellion against mind control. He saw the hat as a symbol of his defiance against societal expectations and norms. In the documentary, he links his actions to Orwell's dystopian vision, a fight against thought policing. Kanye felt that the world around him was increasingly resembling the oppressive society depicted in 1984. He believed that by wearing the hat, he was making a statement against the control of free thought. A fight against thought policing. He wanted to challenge the status quo and provoke people to think differently. He felt society, especially the black community, pressured him to conform politically. Kanye saw this pressure as a form of mental imprisonment, where deviation from the norm was not tolerated. Wearing the hat, for Kanye, was about breaking invisible chains and asserting his right to think independently. It was his way of saying that he refused to be boxed in by societal expectations. He wasn't endorsing Trump's policies, but challenging the idea that his race dictated his politics. Kanye wanted to show that political beliefs should be a personal choice, not a mandate based on identity. The backlash to him proved his point. Free thought was under attack. The intense reactions he received only reinforced his belief that society was intolerant of divergent viewpoints. The red hat became a symbol of intellectual freedom, not just politics. It represented Kanye's stand for the right to think and express oneself freely, without fear of retribution. Kanye wanted to show you could be a black hip-hop pioneer and still question the rules. He aimed to inspire others to break free from societal constraints and think for themselves. The controversy wasn't a side effect, it was the point. Kanye wanted to spark a conversation and force people to confront their own biases and assumptions. He wanted to provoke, to expose the boundaries he felt boxed him in. Kanye saw himself as an artist pushing the limits of what was acceptable, challenging the invisible barriers that society had erected. For Kanye, it was an artistic statement about freedom in the 21st century. He wanted to redefine what it meant to be free in a modern world, where true freedom is the ability to think and act independently. Kanye's embrace of the MAGA hat was about free thought, not blanket support for Trump. He made clear, especially that he didn't agree with all Trump's policies. He dismissed the idea that wearing the hat meant endorsing everything Trump did, especially on issues like immigration. Kanye's focus was on the symbolism, breaking mental barriers, not debating policy details. Critics wanted him to own the real-world consequences of his platform, but he insisted his battle was internal, about thought, not politics. For most, the hat was all or nothing. Kanye's nuance was lost in the noise. The public couldn't separate the man from the symbol. What he saw as a statement on freedom was widely read as a political endorsement. Kanye compared the pressure to conform to a form of modern slavery. He felt that the expectations placed on him, both as an artist and as a black man, were like invisible chains, subtle but just as restrictive. In his eyes, these pressures didn't come from outside forces alone, but from within his own community and the industry that had helped shape him. The idea that he had to fit a certain mold, or risk being ostracized, weighed heavily on him. After his 2018 SNL appearance, he described being accosted by my own people to not free my mind. For Kanye, this wasn't just about a single incident. It was a recurring experience. He often felt surrounded by voices demanding that he think, speak, and act in ways that aligned with the majority, rather than expressing his true self. He argued that as a successful black man, he was expected to think and vote a certain way, a kind of bondage. The success he achieved didn't free him from these expectations. In fact, it made them even more intense. The higher he climbed, the more he felt the weight of collective judgment, as if his every move was being scrutinized for loyalty to a cause. Many found this comparison offensive, but for Kanye, it was about losing personal agency. He saw the backlash as proof that stepping outside the norm came at a steep price. The flood of criticism on social media and in the press only deepened his sense of being trapped by others' expectations. The entertainment industry, especially hip-hop, expects political solidarity. Stepping out risked his relationships and reputation. Within these circles, there's an unspoken rule: artists are supposed to stand together, especially on issues of race and politics. Kanye's willingness to challenge that unity made him a target, not just for critics, but sometimes for his peers as well. The more backlash he faced, the more he felt compelled to assert his independence. Each negative headline, each angry tweet, seemed to push him further into his own corner, fueling his determination to speak his mind, no matter the consequences. This cycle left him isolated, seen by some as a freedom fighter, by others as a traitor. The division was stark. While a few admired his courage, many more saw his actions as a betrayal of shared struggles and values. The heart of the controversy, Kanye fought for individual freedom, while critics fought for collective well-being. This clash of ideals played out in public debates, interviews, and online arguments, with both sides convinced they were defending something essential. It was a battle over the meaning of freedom and responsibility, a struggle that raised difficult questions about identity, loyalty, and what it truly means to be free in a world full of expectations. The MAGA controversy was just the beginning. Kanye's descent into anti-Semitic rhetoric marked a darker turn. In October 2022, he posted hateful comments, including a threat to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. This wasn't provocation. It was hate speech, followed by more interviews doubling down on anti-Semitic tropes. He echoed dangerous stereotypes and even made disturbing statements about Hitler. The backlash was swift social media bans, condemnation from Jewish leaders, and public distancing by friends and collaborators. The conversation shifted from politics to outright bigotry. Even after consequences, Kanye continued, refusing to apologize and further isolating himself. Many speculated about his mental health, but the damage was done. The man who fought mind control now seemed trapped in his own destructive cycle. Kanye's anti-Semitic remarks triggered catastrophic professional fallout. Adidas, the backbone of his Yeezy empire, cut ties, costing him his billionaire status overnight. Balenciaga and Gap quickly followed, erasing all traces of their collaborations. He was dropped by his talent agency, lost a documentary, and even had his honorary degree rescinded. Every bridge he'd built was burning. Kanye once asked, "Do I lose my Adidas deal if I say Hitler out loud?" The answer was yes. This time, controversy ended his career, not just fueled it. The business world drew a line he couldn't cross. His own words brought financial and professional ruin, a harsh lesson on the limits of provocation. Kanye's political journey went beyond the MAGA hat. He took it to the White House. In 2018, he met Trump in the Oval Office, delivering a rambling, headline-grabbing monologue. The documentary reveals he later regretted the chaos, especially the strain on his family and marriage. Yet, in 2020, he launched his own presidential campaign, chaotic, emotional, and ultimately unsuccessful. The film also shows his meetings with MAGA figures like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, highlighting the volatile world he entered. From the Oval Office to his own campaign, Kanye's political ambitions were a whirlwind of spectacle and turmoil. His journey left confusion and controversy in its wake. Kanye's MAGA saga is more than a celebrity's political detour. It's a cautionary tale about fame, freedom, and responsibility. He challenged conformity, fighting for intellectual freedom, but at a tremendous personal and communal cost. His words had consequences, spiraling from provocation to hate, leading to professional ruin and real harm. The story raises a crucial question. Where does free thought end and responsibility begin? Kanye's actions shaped public discourse, for better and worse, showing the peril and power of celebrity influence. With great fame comes great responsibility, a lesson Kanye learned painfully. His journey reflects our turbulent times, forcing us to weigh individual expression against collective well-being. Whether seen as tragedy, bravery, or crisis, Kanye's story is a powerful warning about freedom unmoored from empathy.